Now, the world is waiting for a COVID-19 vaccine and hoping it comes soon. Well, today it was announced that a South African pharmaceutical company may be involved in the manufacture of a global vaccine if it gets the go-ahead for commercial production. Aspen and a Janssen subsidiary, Janssen Pharmaceuticals, have signed a provisional agreement that will see Aspen manufacturing Janssen & Johnson's COVID-19 vaccine candidate at its plant in Port Elizabeth. To discuss, we're joined by Group Senior Executive of Strategic Trade at Aspen Pharmacare, that's Stavros Nicolaou. Mr. Nicolaou, thank you for being with us. South Africa is already involved in one of the trials. There are several trials around the world, though. Firstly, tell us how promising is the trial of the Janssen & Johnson vaccine that you would then be involved in manufacturing?
Francis, firstly, good evening to you and to your listeners, and thanks very much for having us. The Janssen & Johnson trial has been, or the status of it at least, has been widely publicized in a number of both leading medical publications and also more broadly in the business fraternity. It is at this point in time in what is called stage 3 trials, which is the last stage before you submit clinical data for approval. By all indications, the phase 3 results, which are much anticipated, will be out shortly. And certainly the signs that we received back from Janssen & Johnson are optimistic ones.
So how big is this potentially for Aspen?
Look, I think Aspen has been for many years at the forefront of various humanitarian efforts, various pandemics, whether it's the HIV pandemic or XDR-TB. And it's always allowed Aspen to perform both a commercial function but also a humanitarian public health function. This is no different in this instance. So were the trials to be successfully completed and we are able to then move on to commercial manufacture of this vaccine, this COVID vaccine, on behalf of Janssen & Johnson, it will certainly allow Aspen yet again to step up to being a major player in managing what is now one of the most destructive pandemics we've encountered in the last century.
But in what way will it be a humanitarian effort? Presumably you will get paid well by Janssen & Johnson. You're not doing this for free. Maybe benefits for South Africans? Will it make a difference that it's being produced here, more readily distributed here?
Look, as I said, it's both a commercial and a public health opportunity. It's both. And we do put patients at the center of all of our efforts as Aspen. In this instance, we're partnering Janssen & Johnson. It is their intellectual property. I think the benefit to Aspen and to the country is that this is a significant vote of confidence in both Aspen and the country's scientific and technical capabilities. The fact that we've been selected to manufacture what will probably be one of the first COVID vaccines is certainly a huge vote of confidence. Of course, there is a commercial element to this. I'm not at liberty to discuss the commercial details at this point in time, but suffice to say that it's a big vote of confidence, I think, for Aspen and South Africa, that the continent will be involved quite intimately so in the manufacturing of a COVID vaccine. And I might just add that this COVID vaccine, we've indicated in earlier statements today, we are looking to manufacture around 300 million doses of the vaccine on behalf of Janssen & Johnson. We are led to understand from J&J that a sizable portion of that will contribute towards J&J's efforts in distributing this product to both low-income and emerging markets.
Well, Mr. Nicolaou, again, does it make any difference to South Africans that it will be manufactured here? I don't know how many manufacturers Janssen & Johnson has chosen. Maybe you can let us know. And these doses that you're doing here, will it be for export or will it be for the local market or the African market?
So I think firstly, our arrangement with Janssen & Janssen is to manufacture these 300 million doses. We are doing this on behalf of J&J. J&J will ultimately be the ones that determine the allocation and or distribution. But just to repeat what I said earlier, J&J, and we've had this discussion with them, have indicated that they will make 500 million doses available of their vaccine to supply developing and emerging markets. South Africa fits in that definition of developing and emerging markets. So we will make 300 million doses. They will ultimately distribute, I think they've mentioned this in various statements, they will ultimately distribute 500 million doses of the vaccine to both developing and emerging markets, which includes South Africa. So it's definitely a plus that we are manufacturing the product here in South Africa, because South Africa is helping to solve not only a domestic problem, but also more broadly a global problem, in that some of the production will certainly be destined for export jurisdictions.
All right, so congratulations. I mean, finally, what do you do? Do you ramp up operations in preparation for possibly manufacturing this vaccine because it hasn't gone through the full trials yet? Do you play a wait and see? Do you start preparing? If you don't know, what do you do?
Look, I think firstly, Aspen's been quite involved in the COVID response in various forms and shapes over the past few months. Firstly, through the steroid product, dexamethasone, the injectable form, and the tablet form of dexamethasone, which we commercialize in many different markets globally. Dexamethasone has reduced mortality rates in ICU patients by between 25 and 30%. It's made a significant difference. We're also one of the world's largest producers of anesthetics and anesthetic-related products. Those products are very important for the use of ventilation in patients, again, COVID patients that were in ICU settings. So this will be another intervention that we're looking at, and it's one that we will follow sequentially. To answer your question, we're in the process right now of receiving the technology transfer. The next step, once the tech transfer is complete, would be to move to what we call validation batches. And if all goes well and the product is registered, and Aspen Port Elizabeth, that is, has a number of international accreditations from various international drug regulatory agencies. Once these products are registered in those jurisdictions, we will commercialize production. We estimate to go into commercial production in Q2 of next year. And Janssen & Jansson's estimates are that they could be distributing this vaccine also towards the end of Q2 next year. So that's just sequentially what we'll be following. We don't only make vaccines at this facility. Our Aspen sterile facility, as we call it, makes a number of sterile products, including the relocation of anesthetic products, which we are in the process of executing. Once we complete that, Aspen Port Elizabeth will become the single largest manufacturing hub for anesthetic products outside of the United States. Right. So it's certainly a multi-purpose facility, a 3.4 billion rand investment, and we're carving out a portion of that capacity for these 300 million doses we will manufacture on behalf of Janssen & Janssen.
All right, a very interesting development. Thank you for explaining everything. Thank you, Stavros Nicolaou, executive from Aspen Pharmacare. So if it goes well, of course, this vaccine has to go through full trials, has to be approved, and then a South African company could be involved in the manufacturing of this vaccine, he says, after April next year.